24. We're doing 5 steps to digital domination. My name is 𝗠𝗟𝗦𝗧𝗘𝗥. Thank you so much for jumping on today. Appreciate it. We're going to talk all about the 5 steps, things that you can do to really start to get some eyeballs on your brand online, which of course will turn into more leads. So in particular, we're going to talk about these things: search engine optimization, or SEO, paid advertising, typically called pay-per-click, or sometimes called search engine marketing. It starts to get really confusing with all the terms. Some content stuff. We're going to talk about content a little bit. We're going to talk about social media, some of the things that you can do on those platforms. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up with customer reviews and reputation management. So before we get started, I want to let you know that there is some free stuff I'm wanting to give out at the end of today's training. So stick around for that. We'll talk about what those are, how to get those links, and everything at the end. I also love to make this interactive. If you do have any questions, we're broadcasting on several different platforms right now. If you do have any questions at all, make sure to plug those into the chat on whatever platform you're on. And I'll do my best to get those answered near the end here. But I want to make sure that everybody has all of their questions answered before we get finish up. So, all right. So these are the topics we're going to talk about. Let's go ahead and jump into these 5 steps. So step 1, search engine optimization, or SEO. Now, there's a lot of pieces to this. Obviously, it's a big piece of the puzzle. And we're not going to go through like all the things that you need to do, but we're going to go through some of the main points that I think are very important for you to know about this year, things that you need to be doing and taking action on. So we'll go through each of these individually. I'm not going to read them to you because you can see them right there, but let's jump into core vitals. So there are a couple things that every website needs to have running optimally for your website for Google to love your website. And by Google, I mean Google, Yahoo, Bing, all of the others, but quite honestly, Google for the most part. And core vitals are things that you can actually get information on inside of Google Search Console. We'll talk about that in a minute here. But these are things like how fast your website loads, how quick somebody can interact with your site, how does the layout look? Does it change as you use different devices? Things of that sort. There's a lot of pieces to this that go into core web vitals, and I'm not going to go through all of these individually because it would take a long time. The good news about all of these different things, these are like the building blocks for your website. These things need to be correct, even though they're a little kind of nerdy and things that you aren't sure exactly what they mean. All of this stuff can be found inside Google Search Console. The easiest way to find that is google.com/webmasters. It used to be called Webmaster Tools. That link still works. I'm sure there's a newer version of that link, but that one works. Google.com/webmasters will get you there. And there's a button on the left when you have your site set up in there, specifically around core web vitals. So click on that and it will tell you if these things are working or not as they should. Now, if you're using a really good platform like WordPress, that's the one that we use for all of our clients, all of these things are pretty much built in. And if they're not built in, let's say the bottom left here, using browser caching, that kind of stuff you can add on to WordPress by just getting a plugin specifically for that thing. So most of these things are going to be taken care of. It's not like you have to dig into the code to figure all these out. But first step, go to google.com/webmasters, put your website in there, and it will tell you if these things are working as they should or not. That way, if they're working, you don't have to deal with it. All right, number 2, EEat. EEat. This is something that Google rolled out, I want to say maybe 2 years ago at this point, somewhere in that time range. And they're really focusing on 4 things that every website needs to have. It needs to portray experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So if you can start to build content, and we'll talk about content in a little bit. If you can start building a site and content on that site that talks about or has these specific things built into it, you're gonna get more eyeballs on your site. Google's gonna like it. They're gonna rank it higher because these things are portrayed inside of that piece of content. So some examples include an author biography. Talk a little bit about why you are the authoritative person when it comes to this particular topic. Another thing outside of content is positive reviews for your business, right? You start getting all these positive reviews, Google's going to say, okay, this site is trustworthy. Let's show it more often. So these are just some of the different pieces of the recipe that are important related to that. And these will all help your website start to rank more often for more keywords. All right, next is structured data. So now this is a little bit in the weeds and a little nerdy, but something that's very important. This is also referred to as schema, which is basically some code you can put behind the scenes in your site that gives more information to the search engines. Google, Bing, Yahoo, all of these big companies got together and said, you know what, if somebody structures their data in this particular way, then all of us can understand what that is. And examples of this structured data is your business information, your business name, your address, your hours, all of those kinds of things that are the same no matter which search engine is looking for them, the easy data that you can provide to them. Every time you write an article or a blog post, and again, we'll talk about content in a few minutes here, but every time you create some additional content, that it has things in there like what is the headline or the title, who is the author, when was this article published. These are important structural things that you can provide to Google that when they come to index their site, your site, they can get that data really quickly and kind of have an understanding what your site is before they even start going through the actual content. So structured data is a great thing that you can do. Schema is the other name for that, that you can do to your site to really kind of help warm up the search engines ahead of time and quickly explain what your business is about. For next steps, we would recommend going to schema.org. That's a great place to find more information on structured data, how to build it, how to create it. A good first step here would be specifically your local business information. Get that added to your site where it has the address and it has your hours and it has your name and those sorts of things. Pretty easy to do, but get that going and then you can worry about the more in the weeds type stuff later. Next, local search engine optimization, and in particular, Google My Business optimization. Google My Business is what we refer to in the industry as your Google profile for your business. It's actually called Google Business Profile now, but it's been Google My Business or GMB for so long that we just continue to call it that in the industry. But getting in there and optimizing that particular profile, adding in your hours, adding in your location, getting that approved, which is getting harder and harder to do. I actually do a specific training on GMB every year. I think that one's coming up here in a couple months. And it has changed dramatically in recent times so that it gets harder to get those business profiles approved. But once they're approved, they can really help drive leads for your business. As it says here, it is crucial, and it really is crucial. Some things related to local SEO. Now, if you were on our training last month, we kind of dug in a little bit deeper on some of this stuff. You can find all of the trainings at wtmarketingpros.com/training. But some of the things are pretty obvious. Claim and verify your listing. Start to build what we call citations or mentions of your business around the web. Examples of that is your Facebook page and your Better Business Bureau profile. Even if you're not paying for that, you can still optimize that listing, add in your hours, add in all that kind of stuff. Make sure the phone number is correct. Asking clients to leave reviews, on some of these other websites. All of that influences your local search engine optimization. Mobile first indexing. So this is something within the last several years that Google has made a huge change with what they're doing. In the past, Google, there was just one Google. And what Google did was they actually kind of cut themselves in half, I guess would be a good way to explain it, into two different Googles. So there's Google Desktop and there's Google Mobile. So if your website, for instance, is not mobile friendly, it hasn't been built on a mobile friendly platform, then Google sees that and they'll actually not list you on anything related to mobile. So if somebody's looking up window treatments near me and they're on their phone and your site is not mobile friendly, you won't be in the list, no matter how much optimization you've done. If you haven't done the responsive and make your site mobile friendly, they just won't show you. So it's actually two different set of results depending on which device you're looking up some sort of query on, and that's pretty huge. So definitely have to make sure your website is mobile friendly. I think that's the easy piece. And you can actually just go to Google and type in mobile friendly test, and you'll get a free test link that you can click on to see if your site is mobile friendly, or what we call responsive. And by that, we just mean it responds to the size of the screen and changes the layout accordingly. So that is hugely important, especially now, because for us, we see visitors to our client websites somewhere in the 60% range from mobile devices. So if you want to ignore 6 out of 10 people that are potentially looking for your business, don't worry about this, but I think you probably do. It is that important. On-page optimizations, as we kind of mentioned, mobile-friendly website design, fast page load times, especially on mobile networks. So getting those pages to load quickly. This means you can't have a page on your site that has 100 gallery images because you want to show all the different things that you can do with roller shades. You need 10 pictures, 8 pictures, 6 pictures with a button to go learn more. All of those affect overall load times, so definitely important. Following user experience best practices. So for instance, phone number at the top, make sure that that is a click to call phone number. So if somebody's on your website on a mobile device, they're able to click and quickly interact with your business. Avoiding penalties, avoiding things where content is unplayable. It doesn't work. You have to scroll across right and left, and that is pretty much unacceptable nowadays. It needs to be easy from a layout standpoint. Making sure that both versions, desktop and mobile, have the same content or very similar content, and the structured data we mentioned about earlier, making sure that that is available on both types of devices. All right, so that is step one, all around search engine optimization. Step two is all around paid advertising, things that you can do on different networks to get more eyeballs on your brand. This is where in SEO, a lot of those things you can kind of dive in and do yourself if you need to, right? Paid ads, quite honestly, requires a budget. So we'll go through some of these different things now. So Google Ads, this is the big one. This is the main crux of paid ads. So some things that you can do here is around designing ads that are specifically for a specific keyword or even a specific product line would be a good way. So all of your Shutter related ads and content and keywords are in one place, and then your blinds are in a separate place. And again, I do training specifically on Google Ads. I go in a little bit deeper on this. Again, that's at wtmarketingpros.com/training. So you can find different trainings that are a little bit more specific on some of these things. Ad extensions. Again, I talk about this in the training, but ad extensions are these free extra lines you can put in an ad that say, click here to learn more, or click here to set an appointment. And it just gives you some extra real estate on the screen, quite honestly, which means you're pushing your competitors down. So ad extensions are definitely worth taking the time to build out as well. Social media advertising. So I'm talking about Google Ads, but there are plenty of other platforms out there. Instagram is, of course, owned by Facebook, but a lot of people like advertising on Instagram because it's very visual. And people in the window treatment industry and awning industry, as buyers, they like to look at content pictures to kind of imagine what their home could look like. So Instagram, Pinterest are really good for that. And they have ad platforms that you can actually show ads on. So definitely worth considering. A new one that's kind of on the scene right now is Nextdoor. That one, it's been around for many years, and it kind of started to get a little spammy, but they've taken the time to kind of relaunch that platform, and they've also launched an ad platform specifically for it. So we're doing some testing on there now to see if this is a great platform for our clients to get more leads from as well. So there are other social media platforms out there that are very important. It can really help your business grow. Retargeting. So retargeting or remarketing is basically when somebody comes to your website, whether that was from SEO or a paid ad, they come to your website, but they don't engage, right? They might look around a couple pages and then off they go. This is an opportunity for you to then show ads on other networks, reminding them about your business, reminding them to come back and finish, set up that appointment, whatever it happens to be. So retargeting is a fantastic way to easily get in front of people that have already been exposed to your brand. And we talk about that in the paid ad training as well. Landing page optimizations. So landing pages are different than, let's say, your homepage. So when somebody goes to Google and they type in window treatments near me, they land on your homepage or something and they look around. A landing page is a page that is built specifically, typically for paid ads, and it doesn't have a lot of things to do. Really, the only thing you can do on a landing page is pick up the phone, call the business, or fill out a form. It's really the only two things that we can do. You could also call this a squeeze page, where there's no distractions. There's not a lot of things for people to do. It does mention here, match the ad's promise. That's one thing that's very important. We also call that ad sent. So somebody clicks on your ad, the page they land on kind of matches the ad so they understand, okay, I'm in the right place. And a lot of times we'll see clients do two things. We'll see them send every single ad click to their homepage, even though they were, let's say they were advertising roller shades. They dump them to the homepage. That is a poor ad sent, right? Because now they have to go find your roller shades page. Don't make them do that. If they click an ad specifically about roller shades, land them on a page that talks specifically about that product. So I think that's the important thing here when you're talking about matching the ad's promise. We do not send paid ad traffic to a website. We send it to landing pages. And I think that's the other big thing that people miss. They dump them to a page that just has way too many distractions. So optimize for conversion, easy, clear calls to action. And typically those calls to action are click here to set an appointment, click here to give us a call, or fill out this form. Performance tracking and adjustment. We're going to do all this work. We need to be able to start to track if it's working, especially if we're putting a budget towards it. And probably the number one conversation I have with clients or potential clients that have done ads in the past is they say, yeah, I spent $1,500 and it didn't work. It didn't do anything, right? They didn't have the tracking piece in place to see whether that money turned into X number of leads or how many people clicked through, that kind of thing. So it's very important to also be tracking every single click and every single ad that you run out there so you can see if it's working or not. And then start to adjust, tweak those ads, change the words, come up with maybe different variations of it, and see if you can just keep making it better and better as time goes on. All right, step number 3 is all around content marketing. Another thing that a lot of business owners miss. They think, you know what, I just need to get a site up there. I need to run some ads. That's it. What you miss with that is the ongoing addition of content to your site. It's really going to help you with your rankings, quite honestly. So we'll go through a couple different ways to come up with some content. Blogging being the most obvious, and blogging maybe has a bad connotation. That word has a bad connotation, but really it just means adding content to your website on a consistent basis, right? Here are some things you can talk about: how-to guides, customer stories, projects that you're working on, or projects that you've completed, before and afters. Those kinds of things are great for your business. And then also things that people are asking you. If you keep getting questions about, do you guys do valances, or can zebra shades do this, right? That's probably something that's prompting you to actually put content out on your website. Because if somebody's asking you about this, or 2 or 3 people are asking you about the same thing, there's probably 100 times that amount of people in your area that are thinking the same thing and not asking you. So why not put content out there and grab those eyeballs as time goes on? The other thing here, obviously, the content calendar. I mentioned consistency earlier. Make sure that you're consistent with your content. If you're going to do 1 a month, stick with 1 a month. If you're going to do 2, if you're going to do 4, whatever that number is, keep consistent with it. Sometimes we'll see people get excited about content and the potential that it has, and they'll do 1 a week for 3 months, and then they'll kind of start waning off, right? And then they'll maybe do 2 a month, then 1 a month, and just kind of give up on it. The trick here really is consistency and keeping that consistency going. Next, under this is video content, things around product features, installation videos. All of these kind of things create what we talked about earlier with EEat, and that's authority. They create more authority. You are the one that is putting information out about this. And sometimes we get pushback from some of our clients about things like DIY information. DIY information on your site is not going to mess you up from a standpoint of this client, this potential customer is now just going to go do it themselves. If they're that type of customer, they're probably never going to hire you in the first place. But that DIY content establishes your authority. It also builds your page, creates more content, answers more questions, solves more problems for potential customers. So all of these kinds of things can really help you from a video standpoint. And I should also mention here that the number 2 search engine in the US is YouTube, which happens to be owned by a company called Google. So definitely worth taking the time to put out video content as well. Another thing you can do is ebooks and guides, 2 or 3 page PDFs of things that are easy for customers to download and read and visualize their business or their home being that way. There's a lot of ways to go with this: a product showcase, specific ebooks or guides around 7 things you should do to make your living room look phenomenal. Those kinds of things are easy to create, especially with ChatGPT nowadays. These are pretty easy things that you can create quickly to provide to potential customers, and just keep that authority going with, this company gave me all this information. I'm going to call them back and get an appointment now. Email newsletters, probably one of the biggest overlooked things in this area. If you can start to build a list and you have a list of past customers, you have a list of potential customers, reach out to them at least once a month. Stay top of mind and provide value. I think those are the biggest things here. We don't want to use an email newsletter as this month's sale promotion. You want to create an email newsletter that is all around, here is some more value for you, things that you might not have thought of about your home that can make it look better. Oh, by the way, we can help you with those things. And there's nothing wrong with having something in there about some sale or promotion that you're doing, but it shouldn't be the focus of the newsletter. The newsletter focus should be more around providing value for your audience, informing your audience, letting them know about new things that are going on in the industry overall. Content distribution. So if you're building all this content, you're building videos or you're building blogs, make sure to leverage social media, partner with other websites or email campaigns to get these things out. Don't just create them, throw them up on your site and think that's all that you can do. There are other things that you can do related to distributing content, I guess is the easiest way to say that. So, all right. Step number 4, we're plowing through these steps. Step number 4 is all around social media marketing. We've already kind of started to mention some of these things in here, but some different platform specific strategies. There are different things you can do on different platforms to get eyeballs. So user-generated content, we'll talk about some of these here. So platform specific strategies, Pinterest, obviously, or Instagram. Those kind of platforms are very visual, right? So you're going to want to create beautiful pictures, before and afters, things that really showcase the specific things that you can do for customers in your area. X or Twitter, it's going to be a different audience. It's going to be a different way to reach out to them. You need to be more engaging on a platform like Twitter and talk about different things that are going on. Ask questions, get the crowd involved, if you will. So depending on the platform, depends on what actions you take on that particular platform. When it comes to getting people engaged, there are other things you can do. And there are some window treatment companies and awning companies that do this very well. And it is causing more brand exposure for their business, and it is creating more sales. Quite honestly, things like polls. We're thinking about offering this product. Which of these do you like better? Or did you know X? Did you know about this thing? And just starting to get people engaged. A live session. Obviously, we talked about video already, but going live and showing a behind the scenes, right? Or just coming up with a question and saying, hey, what do you guys think about this particular thing? Q&A. All of these things are different tactics that you can use to get your audience more engaged. And they will help. And Facebook especially watches engagement to help show you more times. If people are engaging, you're going to get more eyeballs, quite honestly. Influencer collaborations. So the easy one here is people that are influencers in the home decor world. But there are other things you could do here, maybe just around local celebrities. So there are always local news type organizations in your area that you could reach out to and collaborate with them about some new cool thing that's going on. You could also help sponsor some sort of blood drive or some sort of an event, right? And kind of use their authority to get more eyeballs on your business as well. So it's not just about home decor influencers overall, but just local influencers that can help you by mentioning your brand, can help boost your overall I keep saying authority, but exposure. That's what I'm trying to think of. just getting the word out more often. User-generated content is all about other people creating content around your business. So a great example here is obviously customers' experiences, photos with your products, things like that. This kind of talks a little bit about reviews, and it is related to getting reviews, but just people saying, oh, yeah, as a matter of fact, they did my drapes and I absolutely love them. Check them out. Those kinds of things. Maybe somebody else is asking a question about where to go, and your past customers creating content that points back to you is a great way to do this. Analytics and optimization, again, I mentioned this earlier, tracking. Without all of these things that you're doing, without any sort of tracking, you don't know if you're actually doing them correctly, right? Or if they are working, or if they're worth your time, right? So make sure that you have different analytics products in place. And most of these are free. So you can see, wow, on Facebook, people are really engaging when we show before and afters, right? Google or Facebook would show you that those particular posts are getting a lot of engagement, and obviously do more of that, right? So those kinds of things, all of these platforms have analytics built into them because they want you to do it more often. So they're going to show you what's working. All right, step 5, we're on the final step here. This is all around customer reviews and reputation management. So getting people to tell about their experience that they had with you. So let's talk about some of these. So obviously review acquisition is the first piece of this. You have to have a plan in place that when install is nearly done or done, that you're actively asking the customer to leave you a review. And this could be as simple as texting them a link that they can pull up on their phone and click the 5 stars. We give all of our clients little business cards with a QR code that the customer could just shoot that QR code and leave a review. There's something new called Zappy cards that do the same thing, where you just hold your phone over the card and it automatically pulls that link up. Some really cool things, but you have to have a plan in place that when job is done, you're asking for a review. Now, if you're familiar with our Lead Boomerang system that all of our clients use, there are some automations built in that when you move a customer to install complete, that we can email, text message, leave a voicemail, a lot of different things we can do to help get those leads in kind of a more automated way. But that's definitely a huge piece of this. So handling negative reviews, first of all, we definitely recommend that every review, every 5-star and every 1-star review that you get, that you reply to. So obviously the 5 stars, thank you, John, for leaving us a review. We really enjoyed working with you. Something that simple. Now, when you get a negative review, there's 2 things that are very important. The first thing is it legit? If it is not legit, then you can flag the review. So you can say this review is abusive, it is incorrect, this really didn't happen, this isn't really even one of our customers, those kinds of things. The other thing is, if it is legit, then you need to either fix it for the client so that they're no longer happy, or respond back to it. If there is no way to fix this, or the customer was just a pain in the butt, then you do need to respond. What I tend to tell our customers, especially when they get a 1-star review, they're typically pretty livid about it for whatever reason. I get it. So write your response, but don't hit the button, right? Write your response, stew on it for 24 or 48 hours before you reply. Reword it so maybe it's a little bit kinder because you're not as upset now. Make sure that you have offered solutions to the customer, and then post something along those lines. We're really sorry this happened, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. This is another thing that you can use ChatGPT for. So you can actually copy the poor review in there, give it to ChatGPT and say, hey, help me write a response to this. So use some of the tools that are available out there to help you create something, a reply that influences other potential customers when they read through that. They're like, wow, this company actually does care. They did actually try their best to resolve this problem for the customer. That makes the 1-star review in their mind less of a negative, quite honestly. But definitely make sure that you're replying to those. There are some tools out there for monitoring your brand. Here are a couple BuzzSumo Google alerts I've used for years. So you just put in your business name in there, and anytime somebody mentions your business name online, you get an email that says, hey, this person mentioned your business. Here's a link. Go check it out. Community engagement. So this is around other community-related websites and things that you can be a part of. This includes Nextdoor, which I talked about earlier. A lot of times people are on sites like Nextdoor asking, hey, what is the best window treatment company in our town? Or maybe on Facebook, right? There is a Facebook group specifically for your town or even your subdivision, right? Hey, who has the best awnings? I need a new awning for my window, something like that. Get into those groups, make sure to provide value. Again, don't jump into those groups and just start promoting yourself. You'll get booted pretty quickly. Build relationships, help other people solve particular problems. The other thing that's great about something like this is these are opportunities for you to create content. If you see people asking a question, it's a great way to do this is to create content on that, whether it's a video or a blog post or both. And then when you go to answer the question, say, actually, I've answered this exact thing over there on my website with a link to your website. So that's a great way to kind of get more eyeballs because other people are watching, other people are thinking the same thing. Great way to get them over to get more exposure for your brand. Transparency and trust. I did want to make sure to bring this up, that if you do get a 1-star review and it just didn't work out the way you wanted to, or you dropped something or broke something, just own up to it. Yes, as a matter of fact, we did. We tried to make it right by doing X, those kinds of things. Make sure that you're transparent. Make sure that you build that trust with potential customers that are out there. Very important. And again, a 1-star review that has a great response to it doesn't necessarily mean a 1-star review to somebody that's reading it. So it actually can be an opportunity for you to increase the trust for your brand versus a whole bunch of 5-star reviews. So keep that in mind. It's not always a bad thing, or there is a way to kind of change it around to be a positive, I guess. So as a review, we talked about search engine optimization, paid ads. These are things that can help you. Step 3 was all around building content on your site and on other sites that increase the amount of eyeballs on your business and also help you with your rankings overall. Number 4, we talked about social media marketing, things you can do on these other platforms. And then lastly, we talked a little bit about reputation management, things that you can do to influence others through something called social proof that you are the best option out there. All right, questions and answers. Let me jump over here and see if there are any questions. Let me shrink this down. We're getting less and less leads, even though we're doing really well with paid ads last year. Should we stop with the ads? What's the game plan? All right, so great question. Less and less leads. So when I went to Dallas, the IWCE event in April, that was a lot of the talk, was just the fact that the industry overall is down. Q1 was, to put it bluntly, horrible for most window treatment companies. So getting less leads could be related to that, first of all. If you were doing really well with paid ads last year or 2 years ago, it's a different world than it was the last couple of years. Most of our clients are comparing numbers to 2019 as an example, pre-COVID, just so you can see kind of where you're at. It seems like that's the case. The COVID years, there was just a huge inventory of work out there, and now there isn't, right? So it could be that your ads need to be optimized. It could be that they're stagnant and they're old. In the world of ads, there is something called quality score, and you can actually see the quality score of your ads. And if that score is low, that could mean that other competitors are just writing better ads. And that is definitely somewhere that I would start. I wouldn't stop your ads. If you stop your ads and then decide next month, oh, we better get those going again, you're stopping the engine and starting the engine again, which is not great for the number of eyeballs you're going to get. It's better to pull back on the budget to, $1 a day or $5 a day or something just minimal, so that the ads are still running, and then take that time to rewrite, create versions, different versions of ads, things of that sort, and kind of go that route, and then start to ramp that budget back up, so that as time goes on, your ads are getting better and you're being more competitive with other customers. The last thing I'll say about this is we've seen a big shift, especially since Q1, in who is running ads. So a lot of what I'm going to call mom and pops have pulled their budget back, or they've just stopped advertising. This has left more ad inventory available, and bigger companies have taken advantage of that, meaning the ads have gotten cheaper, and they've doubled down on ads. So we've seen two things happen in the same time. The smaller mom and pops are pulling back. The bigger companies are saying, hey, we can spend the same amount we were 3 months ago and get twice the number of leads. So that's another thing to consider, is that there's more inventory out there, which means things are cheaper, ads are cheaper, clicks are cheaper, and that can help you get a better click-through rate on your ads. So hopefully that helps you, answers your question, gets you moving in the right direction. I would definitely not stop the ads. You can pull that budget way back and start working on writing better ads, changing your landing pages, those types of things. But I definitely wouldn't stop altogether. All right. Any other questions on any of the chat networks? Let me see if there's anything else out there. All right. I don't see anything else. So let's jump back over to the slides here so I can get back through those. I think I just have a couple more small things here. Let's talk about free stuff. Everybody likes free stuff. I have a book called Triple Your Window Treatment and Awning Leads. If you don't have a copy of my book, shoot this QR code or go to this website and put your stuff in there so I can get a copy of this book. I'm mailing these out around the first week of June or so, the end of that week. I'll start mailing these out again, another batch. So get your name in there and let me get this book into your hands absolutely free. Now, just a quick kind of little by the way, we're working on a new book, and we will actually have a newer book out in the next month or so as well. So keep an eye out for that also. So that'll be awesome. Keywords. If you're not sure where to start with keywords, or especially on the paid ad side, go grab our keywords. There's no opt-in for this. You don't have to give me your firstborn, anything like this. Just go to the website, download this list. It will give you a great head start on building out your ads and content that you could potentially create. WTMarketingPros.com/keywords is where you would go for that. All right. If you do want a free strategy session, shoot this QR code, go over to WTMarketingPros.com/strategy, grab a time on my calendar that works, and we'll go through your site. We'll talk about what you're trying to do. We'll look at where you're at on your site and see what things we can offer to help you fix. And if there is a fit with our agency, of course, we can handle a lot of the different marketing related things as well. So, all right, that is it. Thank you so much for your time today. If you have questions and you're not watching this live, reach out to me on some of these different platforms. Email me, give us a call, anything that works for you. I'm happy to kind of help push you in the right direction. And of course, if there's a fit for us to work together, we would love that as well. So, all right, thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll talk to you on next month's training. Hope you have a great day.